and gentlemen. So this is Marsha Kerrr, Talley, and I am so glad you're here with me. In fact, I'm so glad I'm here with me. First of all, check out this t-shirt, Chaos Coordinator, because ladies and gentlemen, that is who I am. I am definitely the Chaos Coordinator. I am that person that can take the pain and turn it into passion and the disappointments and turn it into opportunity. And by golly, I don't always want to be the strong one, but by gosh, it seems to be my assignment. And so here I am today. And so today, the purpose of this podcast, this video, this live stream is to share a little bit about me with you. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my personal challenges, my personal journey from my past relationship to my current situation with work, and even the challenges of now becoming what we call an empty nester, as my only child is going into college here in the UK and preparing for university. Oh my goodness. It is something new for me all around. But let's give it up for the British weather, because outside it is doing what Britain does. It is raining and it is gray. But I tell you something, I'm actually grateful for today. We've been having some phenomenal weather here in the UK recently, and I'm actually happy about it. But we've been having some good weather. It's been warm, it's been nice, and I'm happy about it. But today it's great. And that's a message for me first, and a message I want to relate to you. And it's this idea that seasons change and nothing stays the same forever. And it's a reminder that change is inevitable. I'm going to be very candid with you on this podcast. I'm going to be very transparent, like I always am, but this one is going to be about me personally. So sometimes when we talk about, our jobs and in this field of moving into emotional wellness, coaching and life coaching, people have this misunderstanding and this misconception that means that the people who are doing the coaching and the counseling and the therapisting, they are people who are perfect, and they're people without flaws, and they're people who do not have challenges in their own lives. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to burst that bubble. Allow me to just go ahead and nip that in the bud, because that is not true. It's definitely not true for me, and it's not true for any of the counselors, therapists that I know who are real and authentic, people who are going through life because life is life. And the difference is what allows us to be a coach and to be a guide, to be a therapist. The difference is this: we have certain tools that we share. We have certain tools that we share. We have certain tools that we share. We have certain tools that we share that allows others to navigate the complexities of life. So it's not that we're not going through challenges ourselves, but because let me tell you, getting out of bed this morning was a right challenge for me. A right challenge for me. So I'm going to start with this. I'm going to start here. First of all, I hope you are doing well. Like whatever is going on in your life, I just want you to know that if with the little tips and tricks and with little nudges and movements, things can change for you. That's what I'm here for today. My goal is to use my story because I am an embodiment of the work that I do, which means I am my first client. Everything that I share with you to do in your own life, there are things that I do myself. And if I don't know how to do them, I'm going to find out. So the first thing is my story. The only reason I'm sharing it, well, two reasons. One of them is selfish. It's because, when you share, it's a part of therapy. When you share that stuff that's going on and it's heavy on your heart, it allows you to kind of release and shake it off. It's a part of therapy. And the second reason, which is very important, is that I use my story to help someone else. There is no point of me suffering in silence. There is no point of me going through the lessons and learning all the wisdoms from all those experiences if I do not share them with others so they too can live a quality life, or the quality life that they want to live. So before we get into it, I'm first going to tap my singing bowl, and I never can get the frequency just right. But this is one of the strategies that I use, and I'll talk about this. But before we jump into anything today, let's get some calm. And we are back, and I'm way up in the sky. I had to adjust my seat a little bit. So let's talk. All right. So everyone that you meet is going through something that you do not see, that you don't know about. Every single person, no matter what pedestal that you've put a person on, know that they're experiencing things in the background that they may not talk about, they may never share, they may never find a safe space where they feel that they can share what's going on with them truly. Everybody. None of us are exempt. No matter how much of a guru that you see they present themselves on screen, in person, in the church house, wherever they are, no matter how given they are and the martyrdom that covers them, they are going through things you do not see. And I'm not exempt from that, and nor are you. So, like I shared in the beginning, the purpose of this video, this live stream, this podcast is to share with you, be as candid as I possibly can about my personal journey in love, relationships, being a parent in my business. And relationships is not just romantic ones. We're talking about business relationship and friendships. And it's to be as transparent as possible in those scenarios so you have an understanding that no matter who you're looking at, we're people and we're lifing together. We may be lifing in different boats. We may be traveling this human experience in a different vessel, but we're all going through something. So I'm going to start with this. The first thing I want to talk about is the struggle of getting out of bed this morning. And it really started with yesterday. Yesterday, I had a cry, a deep cry, and I decided to release some things. And I want to share with you what I released yesterday. And then this morning, as I woke up, I wanted to feel lighter, but I just didn't. I felt a lot heavier. I felt a lot heavier. The good thing is, and like I share with you, it doesn't mean emotional wellness coaches and life coaches are perfect human beings. What it means is we have identified some of our own struggles. We've been our own clients. And now we have developed even skills or strategies or tools to help ourselves get through this life experience, living it better, and to help other people. So all life coaches are, and wellness coaches are, they're just people with tools that are sharing those tools, and we get paid for sharing. Okay. So it's not that we are invincible or infallible. We're human beings. We're going through stuff. We're going through stuff. And sometimes I think people who are introspective, they go through the most stuff because they are aware. And self-awareness comes with its own challenges. It comes with its own consequences. So I want to talk about that. So for me to start, I'm going to show you something first.
Something good gonna happen in this year, and I am grateful that I made it here. Yesterday's gone and a new day has appeared, and I am grateful that I made.
This is probably my favorite song, one of my favorite songs like this year. And why I showed you that, I'm going to show it to you again. And I want you to pay attention to a couple of things. I'm not going to tell you what to pay attention to, but I just want you to watch
Something
again.
good gonna happen in this year.
Yes.
And I am grateful.
Shout out to the creator.
Yesterday's gone and a new day has appeared. And I am grateful that I made it.
So I'll tell you this. I woke up this morning and I was heavy. It started yesterday because truly what I wanted to feel fueled again. I wanted to be filled again. Last week, I flew into Texas because, so a couple of things. I wear a bunch of hats. I have real estate, I have rental properties, and that's one of the things that I deal with. And of course, I'm a mommy and I'm doing all these other things that I'm trying to get done in my life. And so I had to fly into Texas last week because I really need to check on my properties and kind of do some things there. But when I tell you, my physical body, my mind was stressed out and drained, like being mentally drained and physically drained and emotionally drained, and all the drainage takes a toll on you. And these are it's a recipe for unhealthy body, just being ill. But I was drained. I was tired. I was tired. And one of the things that drains me the most is this idea that I've hired people to take care of my house or to do certain things and then I go back and I see the evidence that what I paid for these people to do wasn't done properly, wasn't done well, and they were okay with that. They were okay with taking my money, doing the stuff haphazardly, and just carrying on with their life. And that kind of drained me because it's not just that these people are contractors who are supposed to do their job well and they didn't do it well. It was like a reminder of all the times in my life that I've wanted to depend on someone and just couldn't. All the times in my life that the only person that would show up for me is me. And now I want to give a shout out, and I do want to be grateful for those people who showed up in every season, because there's always someone who's shown up in every season of my life to assist me in some way, shape, or form. They may not stay around forever, and they don't. They may be there just for a moment. So I want to give a shout out to all of you who've shown up in different ways, because support doesn't always look the same. Support doesn't always look like you spending money. Support could just mean you sending a word of encouragement. And some of you, through my social media platforms, have been that person. You've been that person without you knowing it, sending a word of kindness, sending a video or a meme. Sometimes your meme is what uplifts me, or the video, or whatever it is. Sometimes it's you. Sometimes it's you who's doing that for me. But it was a reminder again of all the people that I have hired and people that are in my space that should be my support network. But time and time again, I am disappointed. Time and time again, I'm let down. And so it wasn't just about these contractors. It was about all of those years of dealing with this level of disappointment where, for goodness sake, I can't rely on anybody. I have to show up everywhere and do everything. I listened to a lady, and it's on my Instagram profile, and she talked about wanting to be fragile, because people take care of things that are fragile. not always wanting to be the strong one, not always wanting to be the one that takes care of everything. And that's me. Like I would love, and I've said it time and time and time again, that I would love to be that woman that is fragile, that is just soft and just can be feminine and operates in my feminine. I would love to be that woman. And some of you do not understand what it takes when a woman has to do all the things. You take on a different persona. You take on layers and layers of guard, thick skin. It's not that you want to. It's not that we want to. It's because we have to. There's no option. If we are going to survive and even try to get to the point of thriving, we have to take on this strength. And now our strength has become weaponized and it's used against us. And then we are called masculine. And the same men who were asking to catch us if we fall, they're the same ones who are just going to slide on by and let us fall. How do we trust you? So if women and if people time and time again are experiencing these disappointments like I have, no wonder we have distrust. No wonder people are functioning outside of their authentic selves. No wonder people are wearing personas around this life experience that really doesn't serve anyone well. No wonder there's so much pretense. No wonder there's so much unhealed versions of ourselves. And as I'm going through this and I'm recognizing, because this is the part of emotional intelligence. You are introspective, you are self-aware, and you're able to recognize signs of your depletion. You're able to recognize that, hey, something is amiss right here, and I need to change up something real quick. So I was extremely tired. I didn't even get to one of my tenants. They were moving out the same day that I arrived. So I went and I saw them. I met with a potential property manager. And the goal was I was going to work on my house and redo some things there. And then I was also going to work on this condo and redo some things there. When I tell you, my body, and I brought my daughter with me, and that's another point of frustration. I brought my daughter with me. She isn't the frustration. I am so grateful. If there's anyone in my life that I know I can depend on, is my daughter. And some of you who are parents, you understand what I'm talking about. Sometimes you give birth to your support system. Sometimes you give birth to your best friend. Sometimes you give birth to them. And the problem with that is there's a level of guilt with that because I'm the mom. I'm supposed to be the one who's taking care of everything. And I find my daughter, she is taking on and has always taken on this willingness to do for me. She wants to make sure I'm okay. So I'm grateful that she came with me. I didn't want to take her with me. I wanted to just go and handle things by myself. And I knew, she wanted to come back to the States because she missed some of the food from the States. So she wanted to come back. But I didn't want to bring her there because I knew how stressed I would be. But I had no choice. I didn't feel okay leaving my teenage daughter alone at home, even though I have family here. The one family member I asked, who should be the person that I felt like I could depend on, had other things going on. And I just didn't feel like I could ask anyone else. So I didn't. And I decided I'm going to take her with me and we're going to handle things like we always do. It's always me and her. And I always handle business. And when our dad was here, it's the same thing. And so, of course, she felt the stress as well. And there's definitely that guilt of, no, my daughter shouldn't have to go through this and feel these pain too. Because if I'm unhappy, if I'm stressed out, she is feeling that as well. And that's a heaviness for a child. And as an emotional wellness coach, and I'm developing that area of my business, but as a mother, as a person, as a person who is emotionally intelligent, and am aware of how what happens in your childhood can manifest in other ways in your life and can really sabotage or hold you back in other areas of your life, it's heavy on me because I'm like, I don't want to do anything that is going to cripple my child. I don't want the burden of all this anxiety and this stress to flow over to her. So now she is stressed. She is anxious. She is depressed. Before she even starts on her journey in life as an adult and creating her own life, she has all this heaviness. And so that's one of the challenges. I want to be open with her so she can see what I have to work through. But I want to protect her because I don't want her to have to bear this heaviness. I don't want her to have to bear this heaviness. And I don't want it to affect our adulthood, because that is what's happening with me. And a lot of us, we are working through challenges that we experience, trauma that we experience, pain, disappointment, neglect, abuse that we experienced in our childhood. That's what is taking up, consuming most of our adult life and what's affecting our relationships and our perceptions about life. That is what's hindering many of us from living a life that is full of joy, full of abundance and peace. That is what's hindering many of us. It's consuming. It's all consuming. Just even being able to be self-aware to begin with takes a lot of energy and effort for you to identify that the reason why I am still dealing with abandonment issues is because I felt abandoned by my parents. That I felt like the person that should have protected me the most didn't. And you still having to deal with that as an adult. That is all consuming. It takes up a lot of our time. And some of us, we don't have the capacity or the bandwidth to deal with that up front. Some of us are not there yet, where we want to face this head on and say, this is what I'm dealing with, and I'm going to have to find some tools to figure out how to address these issues. So knowing all of that, I am very mindful because I don't want to pass that mantle on and create a generational curse on my own child. But I am so grateful that she was there. I'm so grateful for her. She is definitely the fruit of my womb, and I'm grateful. One of the best decisions I have ever made in life is to have my daughter. And let's be clear, I have made decisions not to have children in other situations. I've made those decisions too. I've had a miscarriage too. And this child is a blessing to the point where I say, God, I don't know what I did in previous life, because if everything else is an indication of what I did in previous life, she's an indication that I did something right. And that I'm still doing something right. So she is definitely my blessing. So we got to the States and I am exhausted. I could not even work on my second property while I was there because I didn't have the capacity anymore. I was drained. I was depleted, man. I was like, oh God, I can't. I can't. The thing about that is this. In 2018, and I keep referring back to this, I developed high blood pressure, and it wasn't because of my lifestyle outside of stress. It wasn't because of the way I ate or exercised. It was because of stress. It was because I was burning the candle from both ends. And that does remind me that the depletion, the emotional depletion, the anxiety and the depression, the heavy weight, the traumas that we carry that other people do not see, the trying my best, but nothing is seeming to work, the trying to trust these people, but they keep letting me down, the why don't I have anyone who loves me for me, the why do you keep letting me down? Like, why are you doing this to me? Those feelings create sicknesses. They create illnesses. They affect the longevity and the vitality of your life. So as I'm traveling and I'm recognizing, and remember, there's no perfection over here. there's this right here is not an example of perfection. This is a woman who's been through some things in life, have made some decisions in life, and seen herself come through on the other side. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing a woman who takes risk regardless of what she's been through, who's exploring different layers of life and saying, okay, let's see what else. And in me doing that, I mess up a lot. I fail a lot. I fall flat on my face a lot. I'm rejected a lot. I hurt a lot because I feel deeply. I'm not a superficial person on any level. I feel deeply. So I hurt deeply too. So what you're looking at is not an example of perfection. Far from it. It's just a woman who's just keep trying. I just keep trying. But I recognize those things about myself, knowing that, Marsha, all of these things that you're carrying, you have to release it because you developed high blood pressure from the stress before. If you keep carrying these things, and that's one of the concerns my daughter has, if you keep carrying these things, what else could your body develop? Some of us, some of you are sick because of the emotional trauma you've not healed from. You're sick because of that pain that someone else inflicted on you. And even though people are telling you you're the reason why they did what they did, you allowed them to do it. Let's be clear. We don't control other people. We may allow certain things and we may teach people certain things, but we don't control anybody. So I don't like this narrative that people keep perpetuating that somehow victims are the reason why they were victimized. Okay? So some of you are sick because of the heavy weights that you're carrying, because your mom wasn't there for you when you needed her to be there. You had a narcissistic parent who chose themselves over you every single time. You didn't have a safe haven. And the safe haven that you may have had turned out to be a big disappointment too. Kind of cold in here, so my nose running. But for you to live a life, because the goal of all of this is to experience life with light and air, a sense of freedom, joy, wealth, abundance, partnership, cooperation. That's the point of us healing. Because otherwise, we get this feeling that all we're here to do is to suffer. And I'm experimenting with life right now. And I'm exploring some aspects of life. And I don't believe my assignment on this planet is just to suffer and to be in pain and to spend my eternity healing from emotional traumas. I don't. I think there's another side of life, and that comes when we've healed and when we've addressed certain issues that is causing us to stay stagnant, causing us not to glow up when we should. So I'm going to show you this video one more time, and then I'm going to go on. And the reason I'm showing you this is because of what I stated before. Oftentimes, I am the strong one. I'm the one that people don't check up on because she's strong. She got it together. I've lost a parent. Like my child has lost a parent. I've lost a spouse. And people who are supposed to be closest to me, not a single one of them has said, Marsha, do you need anything? And by golly, I'm not going to ask because I have seen that I can't depend on you in the little things. In the little things, I can't depend on you. So I'm not going to ask. But it's amazing that people just look at me and assume she has it all together, so she needs nothing. It's maddening. It's isolating, and it's very lonely to believe that people do not actually see you. They don't see me. You are seeing the part of me who has to show up that way because I want to survive and thrive in this world. And it's going to bring me to this point later on. I'm going to address those of you who are comparing yourself to other people who have a support system. Those people are blessed. They have their families, they have their friends. And I know some of them try to use that against you to make it feel as though the reason you don't have that support system is because you did something wrong. And the truth is, some of you do something wrong. Some of us do something wrong while people are not around us. That's true. That is true. Some of you are the reason. Some of us are the reason why people are not around us and why people are not supporting us. That is true. But then there are some of us who it's never been our reality, even when we had nothing to do with it. Even when it was outside of our control. That's just how it was. And that's how it's been. And you are trying your darnest to change that narrative and to create your own community. I get that because I'm in the same boat as you. I get that. I know what that's like. And that's the thing. I can empathize and have a broader perspective of things because of the layers and layers of life experiences that I've had. And I take risks. Like I said, I take risks. I'm going to try. I'm going to try. I'm going to try and I'm going to try. I'm going to try different things. And that does mean I'm going to mess up a lot. It does mean I'm going to fail a lot and all of those things. But my goal right now,
something good gonna happen in this year.
Even though I feel like,
and I am grateful that I made it here.
That I can meet someone
yesterday's gone and a new day has appeared.
Despite how different I am right now. And it's not that I'm an energy vampire, because there's a difference. I'm not an energy vampire, but there's a point in your life where all of us need someone else to pour into us, especially when you've been doing the pouring. You need someone else to help charge your battery. And sometimes, here's what I do know for a fact. Sometimes this charge is not going to come from another person. Sometimes it's not from a physical person, or it's not going to be from the person that you want it to be from. This is one of the blessings with social media. If you have the right following, if you're following the right accounts, some of the blessings is you are my grammar, you're going to run into posts that may inspire you. Or you may have someone just hit you up in your DM with something that's positive, that's going to uplift you. So sometimes the person is not who you really want. It's going to come from somewhere that you may not even expect. And sometimes it's because you have an emotional wellness coach that can help you to build up your batteries again. Sometimes it's because you have developed a discipline over the years that you have recognized when you are getting depleted, and you don't wait until your battery's empty. You don't wait. You start to implement certain practices. It may be going to the gym. It may be using essential oil. It may be going to church. It may be using meditation. It may be using working. It may be physical touch. It may be using music. You have to use those different things in your life to build up your battery. Because if you stay at that state where your battery is too low, what happens next? What happens next? If you don't recharge it, and I'm talking about rechargeable batteries, just think about that metaphor. If you do not recharge that battery, what happens next? First of all, you can't recharge anybody. You can't affect everything that you're supposed to touch and affect in a positive way. You cannot do that if you're not charged. You can't. And then after a while, what happens? So you have to get recharged. Sometimes this recharge is coming from you embracing that inner child within you and reminding that child that they're safe now, that you're protecting them now. And I know that you've been hurting. And I know it's not easy to do these things, especially when the pain is too overwhelming. I know that. I know for a fact that when you are going through it, sometimes the easiest thing to do is to lay in bed and to just cry and to feel defeated and to feel like I just can't do it. I know that because I go through that. I went through that last night and this morning, by golly. So some of you need a purpose in your life. You need a reason for why you're getting up. I am grateful that even though now my daughter, and this is kind of the scary part, because for years, my daughter was a big part of my purpose in getting up and doing things. I've been a teacher. I taught high school for years. And so getting up and going to teach was part of my purpose. Talking to my social media community, part of my purpose. Writing my books, now coaching, part of my purpose. Some of you have to get a purpose because the purpose is going to help you to get your ass up out of bed. When you just want to lay there, when you're thinking, I can't do this, I can't do this, then you start thinking, wait, but if my daughter sees me, in my case, my daughter sees me like this, or, okay, now she went off because she went to college this morning all by herself. Listen, I was having a hard time. I was having a hard time. Any parent who have watched their child become independent, you understand what I'm talking about. When my daughter started growing these things, I cried. I cried. When her legs touched the ground, the front seat in the car, because before her feet would just, and then they touched the ground in the car. Oh God, I cried. I couldn't deal. And she started college on Friday, and she wanted to take the bus. And I walked her to the bus stop. I walked her to the bus stop yesterday as well. And today she's like, well, she was running late and I was still laying down. And she's like, Mom, I've got to go. And I'm like, let me walk you. And she's like, no, I got it. That's the whole purpose of me taking the bus, so that you can be able to do what you want to do. I don't know if you've experienced that feeling, but by golly, it's a whoa. It's a something. Because when that moment happened and I just felt so, oh my God, it was a sense of emptiness. So when they talk about empty nesters, that will be my reality in 2 years when she goes off to university. But when you talk about that, it's not just that they've left the house. It's that other feeling of my child, my baby. It's a new feeling. It's a new feeling. And it's very, very interesting, but you have to have purpose. So even outside of your child, your children, your relationships, you have to have purpose. Because if your relationship ends or your children leave, you have to have something else that's driving you, that's moving you, that's causing you to get up out of bed. Because life is going to life, and every day doesn't feel amazing. I know some people, maybe that's their reality for true. Because some people, all you see is this, they look like everything is good every single day of the week. I get that. And you know what? I'm not going to say it's not, because we are all living our own realities. I just know that it's been a struggle bus in my reality, but that's something I have to work through and am working through so I can change the reality. And we talk about everything in our life is a reflection of who we are. I do want to add to that. While I do agree with that, I want you to think of a mirror. When you look into a mirror and you see reflection, sometimes the reflection is not of you, it's of everything else around you. So the reflection that you are seeing, the things that are happening to you or for you, may not have anything to do with you. So you have to be able to discern and use wisdom to figure out, is this truly a reflection of me? Or is this other people's reflection? They're just in my mirror. They're just in my mirror. And that's something I had to pay attention to today. So there are going to be good things that show up in your life, and there's going to be bad things. And you have to say, hey, this one is for me and this isn't. Because sometimes if you're like me, you want to internalize all of it and make it all your issue and make it all about you. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes that reflection is not of you. It's a reflection of other people, but it's just in your mirror. So you have to say, okay, what am I going to do with what I see now? Is this something that I take in and say I'm going to do better with it and change it and adjust it? Are you recognizing what you can control and what you can't? All of those things, right? So I'm going to move on real quick to this. This one first. Oh, I cannot emphasize this enough. Please stop dealing with people who make you feel crazy. I cannot emphasize this enough. Please stop dealing with people who make you feel crazy. This is a life hack, ladies and gentlemen. You know when you're in the presence of those people and you have needs, but they want you to feel needy. They don't want you to ask. They want you to feel needy. Like, oh, you're just being needy. But we all have needs. When you're in a relationship with others, they have to make room for you too. Like you accommodate for them, they have to accommodate for you. And sometimes you're in relationships with people who only care about you adjusting to meet their needs. They only care about you sacrificing your time and energy so that they are comfortable, so they are okay. And in so doing, it's making you crazy because you're like, how comes? Then something must be wrong with me. No. Some of you are depressed and anxious because of the assholes in your life. That's why. I cannot stress this enough. Some of us are anxious and depressed because of the people in our lives. Nothing wrong with us. I know nothing wrong with we. These people make us feel crazy. So please stop dealing with these people. And I'm not just saying this for romantic relationships. I am saying this for friendships. For friendships, you know those friends who make you feel like you're too much. You're always this. You're too that. You know those friends. I'm talking about those friends too, who make you feel crazy. I'm talking about in business. Recently, and let me talk on this because I'm actually still flabbergasted. So I bought a course for my coaching business. And the purpose, I knew I already had the idea in place. I've had it for years. It's been on my website for years. And it's just been sitting there. So I knew in this season that I was transitioning into another era of my life, so to speak, and in my business. I honestly didn't know what that would look like. I was not 100% sure. When I moved back to the UK, I knew my business was going to look different. I didn't know how it was going to look different. So it does look different. It has a little bit of a face, but it's all in the same, it's the same theme, essentially. It's all healing, all wellness, all of that. It's been the same. But anyway, I've had this coaching idea since about 2019. And in this season, I knew it was time to go ahead and do something with it. And so I signed up for a course. I went to an event and these ladies they were phenomenal. I loved their energy and I decided I was going to go ahead and sign up for the course. But leading up to the course, I paid attention to certain things. And one of the things I pay attention to is how you support me when it doesn't benefit you directly. So that's one of the things I pay attention to. I'm very selective about people who I do business with and people who are in my friendship group. I'm very selective, like to the point where you can count on one hand. And some people might think of that as a negative thing or that there's something wrong with me, but it's coming from all of my experiences. And I honor my experiences. I honor the things I've been through so that now I can make different decisions. And so if I see certain things, and this is something you guys have to pay attention to, sometimes we want to demonize parts of ourselves that want to protect us. Those parts of us were there when we were at the lowest point in our lives. And you develop certain survival mechanisms. And now that you're in your healing stage, that doesn't mean you neglect those survival methods and techniques. That's not what that means. It doesn't mean you all of a sudden just disregard them. It means you learn how to manage them. When do I use this? When do I use that? That's emotional intelligence. That's coming from an emotionally well place. When you're able to say, okay, I'm not going to allow these things to hold me hostage, but I am going to use them as I see fit. So as I was paying attention to certain things, I decided this may not be the best course for me, because remember, you're not buying just the course. You're buying into a network, into a community of people. And I'm mindful of that. I'm mindful of that. And so without even going into too much of that, I decided I no longer want the course. So I didn't even get started on the course yet. I didn't start doing any of the things that they were offering there. I wasn't doing any of those things. And so I asked for a refund, and they ignored me for a bit. And well, first, one of them said there's no refund. And then the other ignored me, the one that it's actually under her course. So I took it to my bank. And when I took it to my bank, that's when they start reaching out to me. But the whole conversation after that was still about them. It wasn't anything to do with me. Like, even when they were talking about me, you can still see the whole purpose is about them. But going back to this idea of stop dealing with people, even in business, that makes you feel crazy. Sometimes you have good reasons for not wanting to do business with certain people. You have good reasons for it. Sometimes you know because you have lived your life. You have gone through things, you know. And some of these adults were bullies. You can tell they were bullies from when they were in high school. Some of those people, here's another reason, because I'm big on this, and I want to straighten up so you can hear me real quick on this one. I am big on this idea of not being the token Black one in any institution. I need to know that you accept me as a Black woman, not just because it profits you. And sometimes I see how they operate. I see how people operate. And I can tell by how they respond when I say no. When I choose to say no or to walk away or to do something different, I understand that some of these people only wanted me to be there because I'm the token Blackie, or I'm one of the numbers so they can look good. So some of these people want to say, I am inclusive. But wait until you say no. Wait until you decide to do something different. You'll see. And that's what I've noticed. Because some of them believe I don't have any jurisdiction to change my mind or to say no. Whereas others can. It's okay for them. But me, I should. How dare you? How dare you? And they don't really understand where that's coming from. They don't understand that it's a subconscious bias towards Black women, towards certain people, whether it's a Black woman, a big woman. There's certain unconscious biases that we carry. And sometimes you don't recognize it. But I do, because I've lived this life for a long time. So when I see certain things at my big age, I make certain decisions at my big age. And I deal with the consequences at my big age. So I asked for a refund, and by God, till today, I'm still, because, you're quite audacious to ask me to change your mind. How dare you? Interesting. So moving on. Interesting indeed. So please stop dealing with people who make you feel crazy. This is all facets of your life, all facets of your life, all facets of your life. Please stop dealing with people who want you to dishonor your experiences, who act like what you're asking for is too much when they are giving you the bare minimum. And then when you ask for just a little bit more because they need to accommodate you too, if you are going to be in their life, they act like something wrong with you. Stop, please, for your sanity, for your nervous system, for your vitality and longevity in this life. Please stop dealing with people who make you feel crazy. So I woke up to this. Shout out to the creator. This is not my work. Found her on Instagram. You can still create a beautiful life for yourself, even if you lost years to trauma, illness, or burnout. You have not wasted time. You've been quietly cultivating strength, a deeper understanding of yourself, and rebuilding your foundation. So please don't compare your timeline to those who haven't had to overcome the challenges you have to bravely face. And again, shouts out to this creator I found on Instagram. And I want to read this again. And this time when I read it, I want you to really allow it to resonate with you. Because comparison, and this is one of the negative things of social media, we always had these traits before, but social media definitely amplifies it. And it's this comparison that we have. We are comparing ourselves constantly to other people. And sometimes we're looking at other people with amazing support system, or we don't know what else those people have going on in their lives. We don't know what those people overcome themselves to be where they are right now. We don't know how long they've been on this, traveling this path. We don't know. We don't know any of those things. Yet we compare ourselves. And thank you, Hector. Hector said a lot of good stuff already. Thank you. Good morning. But we compare ourselves to these other people, and we really need to chill on that. So for one of the struggles for me, and I've been saying this lately, is I'm 42 years old. I can't keep living a life where I am just healing from emotional traumas. I want to experience life that is full of joy and peace and happiness and abundance, and a life partnership where we're just traveling the world and eating good food and holding hands and walking in the park. The simple things, watching the sunset, allowing the breeze to just hit our faces, to soothe us, and the water to just run over us. Those simple things. And even though I've experienced some of those things in my life, that's what I want more of for the rest of my life. And I know life is going to life, but I want more of those and less of what I've had before, less of the pain, less of the disappointments. I want more abundance in healing, wealth, happiness, joy, love, affection, all of those. That's what I want, the abundance of that. So I've been thinking, dear Lord, I have spent so much of my life dealing with struggles, relationship struggles, all types of struggles. Struggle. And I'm not alone on this. This is not unique to me. You're dealing with this too. So I've been thinking that I've wasted some of my time. A lot of my time, a lot of my good years I have wasted on men who were undeserving, who did not know how to value me, or people who just thought of me as this, that, or the other, and they couldn't embrace the truest parts of me. I spent so many years doing that, so many years, burning out myself to the point where I developed high blood pressure, burn out. But yet I came across this on my timeline today, on my profile on Instagram, and I need to find the name of this person because I can't see it on the screen real quick. Find this Instagram person, content creator, and she posts, or he or she, I don't know. You can still create a beautiful life for yourself right now, whatever you're going through, no matter how tough it's been. You can still get out of that dark place, even though it feels like it's hopeless and it feels like you just cannot get up one more time, like you have no ounce of energy anymore, even though you feel like you've given it your all and you're just too tired. You can still create a beautiful life for yourself, even if you've lost years to trauma, illness, or burnout. You've not wasted time. And I have to tell myself this. In fact, I'm trying to convince myself of this, that I didn't waste time with those people, with those situations. I just cultivated quietly my strength, a deeper understanding of who Marsha is, and rebuilding my foundations. In fact, building my foundations in some cases. Whereas there were parts of my foundation that I'm really grateful for. And I'm grateful for all of it because it's all of it has cultivated this woman that you see. And I am a woman. I am a phenomenal woman. There are so many wonderful things about me that I truly appreciate. And a lot of that was cultivated and created in the devastation. And not just in it, from me rising like a phoenix, rising from the ashes. The amazingness, the phenomenalness, the all of that were developed as I made decisions to rise from where I am. So even though you are feeling like I can't anymore. What is the point? What is the point? I can't. You can. You still have a chance. So please don't compare your timeline to those who haven't had to overcome the challenges you have had to face, bravely face. There are people who you're looking at their faces, they're people you see. They don't know anything about what you've struggled with. They've never gone through it. Some people can empathize even though they've not been through it, but do not compare yourself. We're going to take a quick 20-second break to bring a little calm. All right. So one of the strategies that I want to share with you is this idea of breathing. It actually takes discipline too, because when you're feeling the feels, it's really hard to say, I'm going to breathe, but you have to do it. Some things it's non-negotiable. You have to do it. If you want to live a healthy life, a life that is beyond just the momentary pain, because it's not going to last forever. If you want to get beyond that, you have to discipline. And when I say you, I'm talking to me. You have to discipline yourself to do the things that's going to shift your energy. So one of the strategies is to use music. 432 hertz music that's very soothing and it helps with healing. That vibration is just the vibration. It's just sound. So like I talked about the singing bowl, It's the vibration. And as you're doing that, you're breathing, you're breathing. And there are different types of breathing, but I'm not going to complicate it. Keep it simple. Breathe in and release. Lower your shoulder, relax your ears and your jaws, because sometimes you will feel the tension right here in your jaw. You're clenched. And it's not until you breathe and relax that you feel how clenched you really are. So sometimes, even if you don't have a singing bowl, you can go to one of the music channels and type in 432 hertz music. And that's kind of what I played earlier, and I have a whole channel, Sounds of Positive Thinking, that has music like that. Gosh, I should share that link. But the point is to get music, that vibration, because when you have certain vibrations, it shifts your mood. You want to shift your mood. And sometimes you have to just do what it takes to get up out of that funk. Sometimes, like what I had to do this morning, you have to physically get up. Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up. You can't wait for motivation to fall on die. You have to get up. And that's what I had to tell myself. And Charlie, it was slower today. It was slower. It was slower. It was slower. Because I was feeling some emotional feels today. And I'm working through it. This is not an example of perfection. This is an example of a woman that is working through a whole bunch of stuff. And I can share some of the stuff I use to help you work through yours too. But not perfection. I get up and I go through things too. What I look like. I go through things. And today I had to tell myself, get up, ma'am. Get up. You can't stay here. Because what you're griping and grieving over, and sometimes a lot of it is to do with other people. They're getting on with their life. They're doing their thing. And you're laying there, get up. Get up. Okay? Get up. So that's the first thing. Sometimes you have to physically get up. Go wash your face. Go wash your face. Put on something. The clothes you're wearing smelly. Change your clothes. Put on something that looks different. Ladies, gentlemen, if it's makeup that helps you to get through that day, put it on. Put on something cute. Spray the perfume. Put on the deodorant. Put on the lip gloss. Put on the earrings. Do your hair. Feel good. And that's going to help you to shift your mood. I had to do it today. When I tell you, putting on these pants was slower. They were slower today. It was slower. Let's put one leg in the pants and one leg in the... Oh, God, I have to come do this live stream. Because I almost didn't do it, I almost did not come on this thing today. I put on the shirt, and because I was looking, what am I going to wear today? And I didn't want to do too much. And I opened my drawer, and this is the first one. Chaos Coordinates. I used to wear this shirt all the time, this T-shirt. I had different colors, black, red, different colors, purple, of this shirt. And if you want it, it will be available on my website at marshakerrtalley.com. I think it's still up there. If it's not, I'll activate it. But when I went to the States, I had a whole bunch of my things, my products, including my diffusers. I used to sell these diffusers and essential oils. That's another thing. I had a whole bunch of those things still at the house. And so I just got some of those things and brought them back. But this T-shirt reminds me, I am a chaos coordinator. This is what I do. So do you. You know how many things you've been through and you made it through? You don't give yourself enough credit. You don't give yourself enough credit. Do you know how many things you've been through and you've made it through? Give yourself credit. You too. You're a chaos coordinator. You've been taking all those things and you're creating something amazing out of all the things that's happened to your life, in your life. You are creating something amazing. Give yourself credit. So one of the strategies, definitely music, the vibration, even if it's not music with lyrics, because sometimes the music with lyrics is a distraction. Get music with just sounds and allow the vibration and the frequency to shift your mood. If you have a singing bowl, definitely use it. I'm a fan when I can actually get the things to work. The other thing that helps me is essential oil. So when I had my storefront in Dallas, one of the things I used to do all the time with peppermint essential oil, I would put a drop in people's palms like this, and I do it a lot at home. And then you rub your palms together. And I love I love the smell of peppermint. But you do that, but even as you're doing that, you can smell it and just inhale. One of the things, if the peppermint is pure peppermint essential oil, it's going to smell like peppermint and it will clear you up. So just inhale. Goodness, it helps. Another thing that I usually carry essential oil in this necklace. So you can see it up here. If I'm traveling, I have my essential oils in here and make sure I cover it. And so I can use it whenever I need it. So those are two things just to help you shift your mood. If you're traveling on airplanes, because you might get anxious, I use essential oils and I have a mist that I use to help relax me and keep me like chill. I use a diffuser for essential oils as well in my bedroom and around my house. The smell, because scents actually have a way of shifting your mood. You know, when you smell something good, it just brings a different feeling. So do little things. Those are things I have to do. Like I'm superwoman, but I'm not superhuman, right? I'm a superwoman, but I'm not superhuman. I meaning I still have to do the things you have to do to shift your mood and just live better, you know? Which brings me to this. Be with someone who makes you feel pretty all over. Again, not just romantic relationships, but definitely romantic relationship. TLC has a song called Unpretty. If you haven't listened to it, please listen to it. But there are people in your life that could make you feel not just crazy, but very unpretty. Like you question everything about yourself. You question this, you question that. Am I this? Am I that? Be with people. In your romantic relationship, choose people who can choose you. And I'm going to caution you, while I'm saying this, I understand it's very important that if you have someone who's in your life that right now you are going through the challenges of figuring out how to communicate and all of those things, but you're willing to work on the relationship, work with those people. We have a tendency to want to neglect our relationships or to just act like people are just, we can get another one. And then we change our people like that. So I'll caution you that wherever you nurture, whatever you put your attention on and your focus on, it will grow. So if you're in a relationship with people that they do make you feel pretty, but everything about the relationship is not spick and spank and it's not perfect, work on it. Learn to work through relationships. Learn to stop running away. Learn to understand that you have to make accommodations for other people as much as they have to make accommodations for you in your relationships. I am happy for you. S.J. Carter Limited says, I'm quite lucky. I found a woman that has been at my side from the start. And that is a blessing. It's a blessing not all of us experience that. I'm not going to lie to you. Not all of us experience that. I am grateful that I have been in love and I've experienced love. But I also know that I've had people who weren't there from the start or they didn't stay there. And I want to encourage people to work through their relationships. Everyone's not a commodity that you just exchange. That's not how you should be treating people. And I know I don't want to say this generation, but I do feel like I'm seeing this more now than I did when I was younger. And I really didn't hear older people talking about this like we are experiencing it now. And it's this change out. Like, I understand, like I'm telling you, stop dealing with people who make you feel crazy. I'm telling you that. I'm also telling you to choose people who makes you feel pretty all over. But essentially what I'm telling you is nurture healthy relationships. Don't stay in places that is killing you. that's hurting you, that's harming you, that's causing you to be depleted, where you're constantly pouring into them and they're not pouring into you. Don't go in with these roses tinted glass hoping that they're going to become something that they're not. Don't go in with the illusion that they are going to be a prince or princess charming when they've never shown you that, right? Don't go in with that fantasy, although having a little fantasy doesn't hurt, right? Going in and having that hope that your relationship could become the fairy tale is not so bad. But it only works if you understand the dynamic of your relationship and you understand the character of the other person and what you're willing to give and what they're willing to give. If you, and this is my only relationship advice, and some people think I may not be qualified because I'm divorced, but I want to be clear. I've been in many relationships. In fact, that was one of the reasons I had to do some cleansing last night on myself, because I've been in a lot of relationships. I have a lot of relationship advice, but the only one I will give you, only one, work with those who are willing to work with you. If you two are willing to work on that relationship together, you're good. You're good. It's only when it becomes not equally yoked, meaning you two are not you're not complementing each other. And it doesn't mean equality either. You're not always going to be equal in what you give, but you should be given something and they should be given something. And I'm not talking about bare minimum either. I'm talking about you giving your best, even though your best may not be 100% every single day. Because some days your best is 70%, right? So you're still giving your best in that relationship. You are giving the best you can, and you are not so quick to give up every time it's challenging. But you're learning to accommodate somebody else who is in your space, because that's what it takes to build relationships, healthy relationships. It's not just about you. It's about you accommodating other people too. It shouldn't just be on your grounds and what you want. So be with people where you can nurture those relationships. They make you feel pretty all over. And I'm not just talking to women either. Women, you should be doing this for men. So make you feel pretty all over. The other one I want to go into is this. We've talked about stop dealing with people who make you feel crazy. Some of you are not anxious. You're not depressed. It's just because of those people in your life and they're making you feel a certain type of way. This is what I want to talk about. Feel your feels, knowing your past cannot keep you captive. Feel your feels. So SJ Carter Limited said again, Sam, his name is Sam. Samuel says, hi, Sam. Hi, Sam. Sam says, facts. I've said that so much about relationship in this day and age. People don't know how to keep their relationships private and work on each other if both parties feel the energy. Like there are people who are legitimately walking away from other people who they connect with on a deep level just because they're not willing to accommodate them. Because, we're reading through so many memes about red flags and about this and about that and all sorts of things. And we are allowing social media to guide us. And this is where you need an emotional wellness coach. Social media has good nuggets. You've seen me pull some good nuggets from social media to use in this live stream. But sometimes you need someone with a personal touch to talk to you directly about what you're going through. And some of you are taking all of this information and trying to apply it to your life. That in itself is making some of you crazy, making us crazy. We cannot walk away from every single relationship and then expect to have healthy relationships. We just can't. I'm a person who feels very deeply. And one of my requirements in any relationship, whether it's romantic, business, or platonic, is that they need to accept me, because I accept people. I'm not asking for nothing that I am not willing to give. I accept people. You come at me and this is who you are. I accept you. But I feel. And I actually like that part about me. I like to feel. I like to feel the emotions. That's what makes me human. This is what separates me from an android or an AI. I'm human. I feel. And I like to feel the feels. And when it comes to romantic relationship, I want to feel the feels. That is the point. I want to feel the butterflies. I don't always want to have this armor. I don't. I promise you I don't. I want to be fragile. I want to be the princess. And gosh, let's not talk about being a princess because, gentlemen, what is happening? What is really happening? What is really happening? Fellas, you know what? That's another podcast. Let's talk. We leave that one for another day. But I want to be the princess. I want to be soft. I want to be feminine. I want to feel my feels. And I want to be in a relationship with someone who allows me to feel my feel. And especially now at my big age, I'm able to navigate those feelings a lot better than I did when I was younger. But it's going to bring me to this. And boy, last night. So this is my journal. And I think I've done this once before in life. And I did it again last night. And the purpose of me doing it was I was feeling some type of way. When it comes to relationship, we have patterns. When you've been single for so long or you keep running into the same type of people, you start questioning yourself. Like, what's wrong with me? And obviously, we do one of two things. We're like, all men are this, or we internalize it to be, what's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? Now, I do believe our culture and our society is grooming men to be a certain type of way today, like they groomed them back in the day. So they were more chivalrous, even though they had other issues happening. So there was a certain type of grooming and expectation. In our society, there is a certain type of grooming and expectation among men. And so men are looking very different these days. So women are realistically, if you look and you have conversations, women are running into the same types of guys over and over. Whether you're in England, whether you're in America, wherever you are, we're running into the same types of guys because we have a culture throughout wherever social media is, wherever it's prevalent, it's teaching men a certain type of mindset. Same thing with women. It's happening. So we can't act like it's not happening. It's happening. Okay? So the reality is, the truth is, some of us are truly running into the same types of men or the same types of people. We are. But I had to look at myself yesterday because I started to think, and I've done this before. I've had my reset. And one of the reasons I've been single for a long time, I wanted the reset. Now, I don't care about any of y'all who talk about the body counts, because I'll tell you, I counted yesterday, and I'll tell you, because there were over 20 guys. And those are the ones I can remember. And as I was going through this, and I had to do this once before because it's the cleansing. Remember, sex is not a game. And when I say that, I'm talking from experience. Okay? I'm not saying this because it looks good on a banner or because it looks good on a t-shirt or because it's a catchphrase that's going to grab attention. Sex is not a game. It comes with consequences and is a liability for women. I am saying that because I've lived that and I observe the amount of other women who have experienced the same thing. So the consequences for sex is different for men and for women. That's what it appears to be. And I had to cleanse. Prince talk about going into the river, baptize yourself in that river. What's it called? I can't remember now. It's actually a real river, I think it is. But yeah, he says it in one of his songs or something he said. I had to go in and just cleanse myself. And I did it last night again because sometimes, and I heard another content creator say this. Sometimes your reflection is on a time lapse. So you've changed, right? So think about this. You're looking into a mirror, and the mirror is projecting back to you who you are. But it's kind of a flip because, it's not the exact same. It's flipped. Anyway, that's another conversation too. But so it's reflecting back to you who you are. But sometimes you've changed, but the mirror is still reflecting because it's late. It's not caught up yet. It's kind of like, I can't think. Like it's not quite caught up to the fact that you changed now. So eventually your reflection, your society, your environment is going to start reflecting the changes that you've made. And so I see this happening gradually, but I also see that there are some remnants of my past reflection showing up, of my past me showing up. And this is where I'm not going to stay hostage to my past. I'm not going to stay hostage to my past. I'm going to use those experiences to make educated decisions moving forward and make some changes moving forward. So last night I came after I had a conversation with someone who I held dearly to my heart, and I was very hopeful that it would progress into a relationship. And I don't see that happening. And I had to accept that. And that was still very painful because I'm a feeler. I feel things deeply. And so that one event is not just about that one event. It now takes me back to all the other relationships that failed, or all the other ones where I shared myself and it turned out a certain way. So that's all I'm thinking about. It's all compound effect. And so I got on here in my diary, my journal, and I started to list out all these people. And the purpose of listing them out was this. I had to release them. Because ladies, and I put that release prayer on my profile. You don't have to do it, but I'm suggesting you do it. I'm suggesting that you get into a space with some good vibration music, and you get into a mindset where you are open and vulnerable to release and acknowledge. You first have to acknowledge that you have allowed or received certain energies that are still weighing on you, that are still affecting how you behave and how you believe. You first have to acknowledge that's happening. And then you have to be prepared to let them go. You have to be prepared to cut the tie and let them loose. Let yourself go and let them go. Because even though time has passed, some of you are still holding on to, no, not Babylon. Or maybe it's, no. Maybe it's that song, but I can't remember what it's called, The River. But yes, you have to be prepared for that. And you have to get into a mindset of letting that go. And yesterday, the cry wasn't pretty. When I'm crying, it's never pretty because I feel deeply. So I do a lot of things from a place of depth, and I'm bawling, and it wasn't intentional. I actually sat there and I started writing, and I didn't intend to start crying. I didn't intend to start releasing. I really didn't. I just knew that I wanted a change. Now, when you get to that point where you're like, no, man, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't. I literally can't do this anymore. I can't keep repeating these same patterns. I needed to change, and I need a reflection that's bouncing back on me to reflect that change quickly. Do it now. But as I sat there, it wasn't my intention to cry, but I knew I needed a change. And so my change came in the form of me bawling. And whenever I cry those types of cries, I know it's releasing, but it's almost water in my soul at the same time. It's this release. It's this release. And it's watering at the same time. And so as I released, I wrote this and I'm ensured I sent it to one of the person or the person, because sometimes, we're doing these things on our own and people don't know the impact they have on our lives. And sometimes you have to let them know that their actions matter, their words matter, their behaviors and attitude matters, their intentions matter, and it affects people. Sometimes people are going around here causing havoc unintentionally because they don't realize how their behaviors impact other people. So sometimes you have to let them know. So I wrote this to all the men who have been in my life and have had the opportunity to enter my temple. All the people who have entered my life and have had the opportunity to enter my temple. I release you from my mind, body, soul, and spirit. I cut all ties we formed through intimacy and release you to focus on what serves you well as I focus on what serves me well. I free myself from guilt and shame as I recognize the pattern of choosing men who cannot choose or value me. I am ready and deserving of my worthy life partner. I wrote that in my journal as I was releasing. And that part about I free myself from guilt and shame hit real hard. When people talk about the body counts and they talk about these things and that thing, yeah, there's a certain guilt. When you get into, after you've been celibate or abstaining from intercourse for so long, and then you get with someone else and you end up in the same situation, you do feel shame. But we have to release ourselves from those guilts and the shame. You took a chance, you took a risk, but now that you recognize the patterns, see, all of your change begins with introspection. All of your change begins with self-awareness. You have to acknowledge the patterns. You have to acknowledge what is creating the belief and the behavior. You have to acknowledge that. And that part alone takes work. That's not child's play. That takes work. And once you do that and you put things in place to help you release, you have to free yourself from the guilt and from the shame. That guilt and that shame is what's holding many of us hostage to the same patterns that are not working on our behalf. The same patterns that do not serve us well. The same patterns that keep sabotaging us day in and day out. The same patterns that keep us in the same rut, in the same place, not moving, not growing, not glowing. The guilt and the shame is keeping us stuck in this perpetual cycle, and we keep repeating it. So once we recognize what we need to heal through and we are doing the work to heal through it, which is not an overnight work. Some parts are quicker than others. Some parts just take a long time, depending on the depth of the trauma, depending on the depth of the wound. Some of it's going to take longer to heal, but you have to free yourself from the guilt and the shame that's associated with it. And I know there is a mentality to blame victims, and I'm not telling you to feel like a victim or feel victimized, but I am telling you to free yourself from the guilt and shame that comes with some of the experiences that we've had. I'm going to close out today. I thank you. Patience is key. Thank you, Sam. Patience is key. And when we talk about patience, it's important to understand that patience is not just given to other people, like forgiveness. It's for ourselves. And a lot of us have got to forgive ourselves for things that we've done, choices that we've made, people we've accepted into our lives. We have to forgive ourselves. We have to be patient with our growth. And I'm talking to me. This is not an example of perfection. What you're looking at, no, I go through all the things. All the things. We have to be patient with ourselves. Forgive ourselves and be patient. And when parts of ourselves show up, the toxic part, the lustful part, the impulsive parts, that we are still able to say, okay, I see you. I see you. I appreciate you. But right now, I don't need you right now. Because there are parts of ourselves that are useful in different situations. Listen to me very carefully. I'm all peace and love, but I'll cuss you out. Do you hear me? I'm a Jamaican woman, so I do come with a level of spice and feistiness that not everybody get to see gratefully, but it's there. And I'm telling you right now, that's useful. It's not useful in every situation, but don't try me. Do not try me. And when that part of myself shows up in certain situation, I know, thank you, Sister Marsha. Thank you, girl. Thank you. Because I know if that part of me didn't show up, some people would take advantage. Some people would try and run over me, or I would not get out of the bed. That part of me is the resilient part of me. The part of me that's saying, girl, no, ma'am, get up. You think I'm just talking to you guys like this? Me have to talk to me like this. Or you think me get up out of bed? Me have to come out of the bed. Me have to come out of the bed. You talk to yourself. So that part of me is not just aggressive and assertive, which I'm grateful for. Because you see, at some point, I believed other people that it was something negative. It's something that I should cast away. And I was trying to adjust so I could fit into their mold. And then I quickly realized, no, that's not me. And that part of me is valuable, because if I let some of you be, you would trample all over me and do all the things you want to do. No. So when parts of yourself show up that doesn't even look attractive, it may not look at the ugly parts of yourself. I said something to a guy other day, and it was ugly. Some of y'all might find it, raunchy or whatever, but it was ugly. And I knew that because it was also coming from an ugly place. It was coming from a place of, I want your attention and I want it in this way. And it was coming from an ugly place. But see, now in my big age, I am not hiding them parts of myself from myself. Because some of us do that. We act like, no, I don't do that. No, I'm not doing that. Why? Because I want to see all those parts of me exposed so I can address them accordingly. I'm not going to grow by pretending. I'm not going to grow by trying to be someone I'm not. I'm just not going to grow that way. And I'm invested in my personal development. I am invested in self-growth. So when those parts of me show up, thank you. I honor you. I value you. I know you have a place. And I know you served me well at some point in my life. But right now, I don't need you. Not right now. And you're being kind to yourself and you're being patient with yourself, just like you're talking to someone else. Because you have to understand every part of you showed up for you for a reason. It showed up for you for a reason. You survived all that you survived till this point because of all of the other versions of you. So you have to give honor. You have to be patient to become the person you want to become, but you also cannot disrespect or disregard the other versions of you. You can't do that. Don't do it. Don't do it. Respect it. Honor it. Honor them. Thank them. I thank the parts of myself that was there to get me through the survival mode. I am grateful. I am forever grateful. Forever grateful. So when a part of a version of me show up that's from survival mode show up in my present, something right here is summoning that version of me. So I have to address that. If something in my present is summoning the aggressive, assertive part of Marsha, then I have to address it. I need to know what is in the situation right now that is causing that to happen. Why do I feel the need to protect myself in such a way or assert certain level of dominance? Why? Do I feel disrespected right now? Do I feel unsafe right now? What is it? Why do I feel I need to do this? And so I address that. So we're going to wrap this up. So in all of this, we're talking about emotional intelligence. It's a developing an emotional wellness, knowing that nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. We're developing an awareness of and ability to manage our own emotions while having empathy for others. It's about having self-regulation, knowing what triggers you, practicing healthy living, knowing your emotions and feeling the feels and staying connected with people who do not make you feel crazy, people who make you feel pretty all over, having a level of self-awareness so you can identify early attachments from back in the days, back in your past relationships, back in your childhood, issues with your parents, issues with this, issues with that, and knowing how those are all influencing who you are today, your beliefs and your behaviors. And being constantly mindful of how you're connecting with your emotions, because some people like to demonize emotions. I don't think you should do that. That's what makes you human. That is what makes you human. And don't be afraid to ask for feedback. In some situations, you're the problem. And let me say that clear as day. Okay? So you hear me. In some situations, you're the problem. In some situations, I am the problem. So don't be afraid of feedback. In your big age, my big age, our level of maturity and experience, don't be afraid to ask for feedback. Find out from the other person in the relationship how you did and how you could have done something differently, because they can't beat you. Those days are over, you know? Like when your parents used to be able to do that. My parents can't even do that now. So ask for feedback. See, a lot of times what we do, we put people on pedestals, especially when it comes to romantic relationships. We put people on pedestals and we make them the high and mighty. So, and we belittle ourselves. So to ask them for feedback, but you're asking them for feedback as a peer, knowing that you're an adult. And you're asking it because you understand the importance of self-awareness. And that's how you develop your self-awareness, because some things you cannot see because you have blind spots. And emotional intelligence is also social skills, knowing how to read nonverbal cues, knowing how to listen actively, knowing how to empathize. Some of you are lacking empathy, and that's why you keep doing what you do to other people without understanding how your actions affect other people. You're lacking empathy. So my goal is to help you as I help myself. It is here. My emotional wellness program is now available from my website. If you head over to marshakerrtalley.com, you can see the overview of the course, what is available, and how you can enroll. Listen, emotional wellness is just as important as your physical and mental wellness. And let's be clear, emotional wellness, I actually believe it's recursive. Your emotional unwellness could affect your physical health. It could affect your mental health. So it is important to have emotional wellness. And so now I have a 6 weeks course. And let me talk about this really quickly. Because again, and let me be clear again, this chaos coordinator is not an example of perfection. So just because I'm a life coach or an emotional wellness coach does not make me immune to going through the complexities of life. My goal is to help you navigate the complexities while I do the same thing for myself. My goal is to find different tools and practices, tips and strategies that can help you as I use them in my own life. Now, when you have different tools, you have different things. You may not use all of them at one time. Just think about a work toolbox. I have a tool bag in my house that I brought all the way from the States because I wasn't going to pay any more money to buy that drill because that drill cost me good money. So I brought it to the States, to the UK with me. I had it shipped. So I have a whole bag with all my nails, my screws, my drill, my this, my that, my hammer. But all those tools that I have in the bag, I may not use all the time on every project, right? When I was putting up these shelves, I just needed a drill. I didn't need my hammer. I didn't need a tape. Certain things I didn't need. It's the same thing when it comes to your wellness, your overall wellness. Wellness is holistic, mental, emotional, psychological, physical. It's all wellness. And when you are in your toolbox, in your wellness toolbox, you're going to have different things. You're not going to use all of them all the time, but you want to have those tools there for when you do need them. And sometimes you need an emotional wellness coach, not because that other person is on this pedestal and they are the epitome of perfection. No, because who is? Nobody. Get that out your mind. Nobody. So nobody's perfect, but it's not because they have the holy grail of the best behavior. It's because they may have some tools and they can help you. And this is where you can get feedback. See that part when we talk about self-awareness, when you're developing emotional intelligence and you ask for feedback, you may not get that from the people in your circle. They may not know how to answer that question. Then people might look in your face and lie. They may not know. They may not even know how to tell you the truth. They may not even know what feedback to give you in your personal development or for your personal. They may not know. So having an emotional wellness coach allows you to receive that feedback. It allows you to see blind spots that you cannot see, that you cannot spot. I need one. I need someone I can talk to help me see what's over my shoulder, behind my back there. What's back there? When something is stick, how do I reach that? Right? That's what your emotional wellness coach is there for. It's not about perfection. So throw that out. Throw that one out the window. Okay? So it's about having the different tools. So my emotional wellness coach, and I'm currently working with clients. And my goal was to work with as many clients as possible now, before I release the program to everybody else, or launch the program, as they say, so that it was really for me. I wanted to work through the program to work out the kinks and all of those types of things. You can't do that because people are people. So everyone's going to be different, but I wanted to work out the flow of it and just certain fundamental aspects of the program, of the program before I launched it, but I've launched it. So it is actually available, and it's available for $597 now at the beta version. And that means this is the version where I'm still working through the kinks, but you have to pay for my time. And so we have the one-on-one coaching where you're working with me, which I actually prefer. I prefer working with people one-on-one. And then there is the group coaching sessions where you're working in a group. So think about the group coaching session like, I don't even want to use this comparison because some of you might get triggered. But I thought church is like the first coaching group coaching for a lot of people. You go to church, you hear the word, and then you apply it in your life. So there's that aspect. So there's a one-on-one part where you're working with me, and I am now a certified counselor. So I work on that part, and I've been a teacher for years. So one-on-one, the group coaching, and then you get daily activities that can help you to deal with some of the things you're going through in your life and apply those. And even as I'm going through my own personal things, I have to go back and go, all right, Marsha, what can you do? Some breathing techniques. All right, go work out. Okay, so you may need to eat this type of stuff. And I have a book here. It's called Prescription for Nutritional Healing. It's a powerful book. Someone recommended it years ago. One of my Muslim friends, brothers, he recommended this book, thick book. But the reason he recommended it was because, like I said, in 2018, I developed high blood pressure through stress and whatnot. But in the book, it tells you like different foods you can eat. I'm thirsty now. I'm getting tired to help with that. So we're running on 2 hours. I haven't eaten yet. My child's going to be home from school. This is how long I've been talking. Goodness. Imagine me talking for almost 2 hours by myself. And thank you, Sam, for being here, and everybody else that joined me on Instagram. There's some people watching me here directly from YouTube and from Twitch. Shout out to you. I know you're there. I can't see all your comments, but I appreciate you showing up and being here. And some of you have been here the whole time. Bless your cotton socks. So if you want to do that, you definitely can keep me in your ear and go do what you're doing. So that is my emotional wellness program. And so you can enroll, go to my website, and there's an option to find out a little bit more about what the program is and how to enroll for it there. But if you need to talk to me directly, there's also an option to schedule a call to speak to me as well. So in addition to those things, I do have my books. The Decision is Just the Beginning. And in this book, I do talk about, you know what, just doing it. Don't wait on the motivation. Just go ahead and do it. And some of the things you have to just do it. So that's one book. Then we have Healing from Emotional Traumas, which, by golly, I share a lot of my pain in this book, but I also share a lot of strategies on how to overcome similar pain. I share other people's stories as well in the book. This is a phenomenal read. I am very, very proud of all my books, but this one because it's helped a lot of people out. And a guide for dealing with a narcissist, ladies and gentlemen. Goodness. Now, I'm going to say the word narcissist and narcissism has become like a buzzword. And I really don't like that because it's a clinical word. But there are some people who have narcissistic tendencies. And so this book kind of deals with that. It's not a clinical book. It's just to give you practical tips on how to deal with people with narcissistic tendencies. And of course, The Decision is Just the Beginning. So if you scan any of these QR codes, you can purchase the books directly from my website. And finally, let me share this video with you. This one made me laugh. Let me see the creator. Shout out to
you was gonna give up, bitch. You wasn't finna give up.
Wait, hold
what you
on.
say?
Let me start this one again.
What you say? What you say? You was gonna give up, bitch. You wasn't finna give nothing up. You was finna keep striving, keep pushing, keep working, and keep doing your shit. You
Yeah.
Great. It's nothing but success in your future. Get up, get out, get motivated.
Hey.
Get your motherfucking shine on tonight.
You better work.
Get out,
Get motivated.
Get your motherfucking shine on tonight. Get up, get out, put your mind to it. Get your motherfucking shine on tonight. Get up, get out, get motivated. Get your motherfucking shine on tonight.
Hey. And that's what we call chaos coordinator. So shout out to, let me see if I can pull up the content creator for this one, because that was dope. I can't see the name on here. So I think it's called Call Me Dang Official. Call Me Dang Official. But that one was giving me life. I came across that one on social media, on Instagram. And let me just tell you, man, go through your social media and unfollow any account that is not bringing you life, even if that means mine. Not mine. Go through, get the ones that are helping you because we need that right now. We need that. And I came across this one and I love it, love it, love it. So get up, get out, get motivated. And if it means you need to shake what your mama gave you, and my mama didn't give me a whole lot, but if that means you need to shake it, shake it. Okay? Do what you need to do today to get out here and live your purpose and live your best life. Even though you were heartbroken yesterday, today is a day that you can do the best work you've ever done. So get up, get out, get motivated. And if you need me to be your cheerleader, if you need me to be your coach, if you need me to say, come on, let's do this, you know where to find me. MarshaKerrTalley.com. Click that schedule a call button or enroll in my course. Like, I am so appreciative of the opportunity to serve you guys, to be here and share my story and help somebody else. Like, there's no point to it. If just pain for what? So if my pain can turn into purpose, I am happy about that. So Sam said again, I try every now and again. Tough removing loads at once, though. Instagram stops me. Yeah, like sometimes you do have to prioritize how you're scrolling through these social media, but always definitely get those accounts that are going to uplift your mood. And so the 3 things we talked about today: getting some good music, like with good vibrations, getting the hell out of the bed, and putting on something, washing your face, freshening up, wash yourself, and doing that and feeling good. But also, you might want to do something that is going to help you feel good and be around people that makes you feel pretty all over. Want to feel pretty all over. So with that, I'm closing out, ladies and gentlemen. We're at 2 hours mark. 2 hours! 2 hours mark. Thank you for being with me all this time. You are wonderful. You could be anywhere else, but you chose to be here with me. And with that,